Hello, everybody. Welcome to this workshop today. This is an orientation session that will provide an introduction to the insurance in the U.S. healthcare system, and it's brought to you by International Student Insurance. My name is Leslie Reynolds. I am part of our university relations team, and I'm going to be guiding you through this orientation session today. So a quick little overview of ISI. I always like to explain this to students because the insurance world can be pretty confusing. And I like you guys to know who we are and how we can support you. So we are actually a brokerage, an insurance broker or agency. And what that means is that we work with different carriers. Carriers are the insurance companies that ultimately will decide to pay your bills, pay your claims, and who are taking on the risk. We are, I like to consider us like middlemen, where we serve as your advocate. So when you purchase a plan through us, you are getting the benefits from the carrier and you're getting the support and advocacy from us. So we provide insurance plans for international students like you. Every one of the team that you will interact with, either through my team or through our customer service team, they are licensed insurance agents. So we are all well-versed in the area of insurance and know how to guide you and direct you. We can help you manage your plan. We can support you, again, with customer service needs, and we will always advocate on your behalf and can support you with claims issues as well. And I also like to highlight that we have team members in 6 different countries. So we are a global company, and many of our employees, including myself, have experiences of living abroad. And so we know how challenging it can be to move to a different country. And we're here to support you through the insurance aspect of that. I'm going to show a quick video now. It's about 5 minutes, so just sit back and relax for a few minutes and watch this video that gives a really great overview of the U.S. healthcare system.
In this short video, we will provide an overview of the U.S. healthcare system and how to seek medical treatment. The first step is what to do before you leave home. Before you travel to the U.S., there's some simple things you can do that will make your life much easier and could prevent you from having to pay for things that are typically not covered under international student insurance plans. 1. Prescription medications. If you are currently taking any prescription medications, such as asthma inhalers, make sure to bring a good supply with you, along with your doctor's notes for those medications. 2. Eye test. Opticians are typically not covered under international student insurance plans. So get a checkup before you travel and make sure you have current prescription glasses and contact lenses. 3. Dentist. Make that visit to the dentist you have been putting off. Dental costs in the USA can be very expensive and will likely not be covered by your insurance plan. 4. General checkup. Go to your doctor and have a checkup before you travel, and make sure all your vaccinations are up to date. With some advanced planning and preparation, you can avoid uncovered expenses when abroad. The U.S. healthcare system offers some of the best medical care in the world, but it is complex, difficult to navigate, and often very expensive. The U.S. system will also likely be very different from the healthcare system you are used to back home. In this section of the video, we offer a few simple tips. First, like most Americans, you will need a private insurance plan, either through your school or one that you purchase directly. There is no universal access or national health care like many countries offer. When you seek any medical care, the provider you choose, hospital, doctor, or clinic, will look to you and to your insurance carrier to get paid for their services. There will be no payment from the government, and healthcare can be very expensive in the U.S. Here are a few recent real-life examples. Appendicitis, $60,493. Fractured humerus, $47,445. Fractured clavicle, $18,393. Car crash or serious illness, $150,000 plus. We hope by now it's clear why you need insurance. However, even with insurance, you should still be prepared to pay some portion of the cost of your medical care. Cost sharing is an important element of the U.S. system, so medical care is never entirely free, and each time you access the system, you should expect some cost. While your insurance plan will typically cover the majority of expenses, there will be copays, deductibles, coinsurance, excluded charges, or some combination of these items that will ensure that you pay something. Carefully review your insurance documentation so you understand how these payments work for your plan. When you get sick or injured, where do you seek care? Here's where it can get complicated. The medical system in the USA is made up of a mixture of many different types of providers. Large and small hospitals, emergency rooms, private doctor's offices, urgent care centers, walk-in clinics, specialists' offices, surgery centers, pharmacies, and our favorite, the on-campus clinic. As daunting as it may look, if you keep a few simple points in mind, seeking medical care does not need to be overly complicated. The main thing to do is, if at all possible, stay out of the emergency room. Emergency rooms in the U.S. are expensive and are designed for life-threatening or very severe illnesses and injuries. If you have the flu or a sprain or minor cut, you can go to an urgent care center, walk-in clinic, on-campus clinic, or doctor's office for a fraction of the cost of the emergency room. The best place to start, if at all possible, is your on-campus health center or clinic. These clinics are typically available at reduced cost or even free, are close and convenient, and even if you end up having to go somewhere else later, will save you money under most insurance plans. Local doctor's offices are a good, affordable place to start your medical care as well. Often called general practitioners or family doctors, these offices typically require an appointment, and some doctors may not accept new or short-term patients. If you can find a doctor you like and get an appointment, it can be the best place to start. Often a more convenient option is a walk-in clinic or urgent care center. With long opening hours, no appointment or prior relationship required, and ability to deal with a wide variety of medical issues, these retail providers have become extremely popular. They can cost a bit more than a doctor's office, but much less than an emergency room, and typically accept a wide variety of insurance plans. Of course, for serious or life-threatening illnesses and injuries, go straight to the emergency room connected to your local hospital. They will be prepared to deal with any problem you have and will either treat and release you, admit you, or refer you to another facility. It won't be cheap and it won't be quick, but you are in the right place for a serious case. A doctor at an office, urgent care center, or hospital may write you a prescription for medication. In this case, you will need to go to a local pharmacy to get the prescription filled. There are lots of options available. Walgreens and CVS are two of the more popular nationwide chains, but Walmart and other grocery stores also have pharmacies. In most cases, you will need to pay for the medications fully and then keep copies of your receipts and submit a claim to your insurance company for reimbursement. To review: 1. Prepare before you go. 2. Make sure you have insurance. 3. Plan to pay some costs yourself. 4. Stay out of the emergency room and start your care at an on-campus clinic, doctor's office, or urgent care center whenever possible. We hope that you have found the information in this video helpful and that you have a better understanding of the healthcare system in the U.S. For more detailed information about various U.S. healthcare topics, please visit the Insurance Explained section of International Student Insurance, www.internationalstudentinsurance.com/explained.
Okay.
In this short video,
Hopefully that gave you a good overview of not only how the healthcare system works, but also how to use insurance in the US. I always like to take a minute after watching that to engage with you guys a little bit. So if whoever is managing this video for you guys, if you can pause it and consider these questions for a few minutes. What information in that video surprised you? What information confused you? And what is your main takeaway? So take a few minutes to discuss this either as a group or maybe in pairs, and then we'll come back together. Okay, A few terms you may have heard during that video that I want to make sure we spend a minute on because you'll hear these come up through the rest of this session, and you'll need to understand what they mean as you use insurance and healthcare in the US. So the first term is deductible. A deductible is the amount of money that you're responsible for paying for medical expenses before the insurance begins to pay on your behalf. So you'll remember in that video, they talked about cost sharing being an important part of the insurance relationship. And so it's important to understand that when you pay for an insurance plan, you should not generally expect to then pay nothing. You are paying for cost support, not for free healthcare. So you'll still need to be prepared to pay some things. And that's what actually all of these terms listed here are referencing out-of-pocket payments. So deductible is one of those payments, and it is what you usually have to pay before the insurance will start to do that cost sharing. This can range. We're going to talk about some of the options that you guys have through our plans. Copay is the set amount that you pay each time a medical service is accessed. For example, each time you visit the doctor. Copays might vary depending on the type of place that you visit. So a hospital copay might look different from an emergency room copay, and a primary care doctor visit might look different from an urgent care visit. So it's important to know the difference and be prepared when you do go with that copay, because you will have to pay that up front, either by cash or card. So be prepared for that. Coinsurance is the term that refers to that cost sharing. So usually this is listed as a percent. So we will talk about that when we get into the benefits of your plan options. And this refers to the agreement that you are essentially joining when you pay for the insurance. You are joining this cost sharing agreement that shows the amount that the insurance will pay and the amount that you will pay. And then a policy maximum is the maximum amount that a policy will pay on your behalf. These can be listed as per illness, as per year, and or per lifetime. Sometimes you'll have all three for one plan. So make sure you make a note of that as well. That's not exactly an out-of-pocket cost, but it is an important cost number to be aware of, because once you hit that maximum, your benefits will basically be maxed out. And so you'll need to be prepared for additional expenses after that. There are tons of other terms that we could talk about, but these are really the most important ones to highlight today. So within those terms, there are benefits that are important to understand when you're choosing a plan. These are some of the high-level benefits that you're going to notice, and I'm going to break them down for you guys on the next slides. But out-of-pocket amounts, which refer to some of the terms I was just talking about, doctor's visits and hospital stays, which can be urgent care or specialists. It can be inpatient versus outpatient. It might be getting labs or x-rays done. So all of that can be included in doctors and hospitals. Pre-existing conditions, that refers to a condition that you've previously received treatment for or that started before you were insured on this plan. And the questions you should be asking: is there a waiting period? And is your condition listed in the exclusions or not? And then some specialty coverage would include maternity, school sports, which refers specifically to intercollegiate sports, wellness and preventative care, which refers to care that isn't for something that you actively have, but maybe like testing for something that you want to avoid, or like immunizations, that's wellness or preventative. And then vaccinations and immunizations, sometimes those are separated out. Okay, so going over some of the out-of-pocket amounts and specifically looking at the plan options that you guys have. So you are permitted to purchase our Student Secure Select or Elite levels. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in this session today, so you guys can really have a good understanding of what those options include and kind of how to decide between the two. So the monthly premium I like to make this a bit of a game and see. I'm going to give you guys a minute to see if you can tell your proctor or whoever is guiding this which one of these boxes do you think is the monthly premium? All right, if you guessed this one in the top, you would be correct. So the monthly premium options for the plans that are available to you are $104 for the select level or $178 per month for the elite level. These are different prices because you get more benefits with the elite. And like I mentioned, keep in mind that these monthly payments do not mean that you have no medical expenses after that. But generally, the way it works is the more that you pay in premium, the smaller your out-of-pocket costs are going to be when you do have to seek care. So it's kind of a good rule of thumb for your budget. Okay, copays. Can you take a minute and guess which one you think is the copay chart? The left, the bottom, or the right? All right, if you guessed the left, you were correct. You'll see these are relatively small amounts, and they're not meant to be exorbitant, but it's meant to give you like a small amount that can go towards the cost of care that you can predict. And so that's kind of where the idea of copays come from. So you know, if you need to take a visit to urgent care, you know, okay, I need to have $50 to do this. Make sure you have that either in a bank account, on a credit card, or in cash when you go to that appointment. Student health center, the copays are there unless your student health center is no cost to students. And then, of course, you wouldn't be expected to pay that. But if there is a cost and it's not a free service, then you can go for as little as $10 to your student health center. And you can see the emergency room copays are the highest copays, which is why we always encourage students to avoid the emergency room except for true emergencies. All right, deductible. Any guesses about which the right or the bottom is the deductible chart? If you guessed the right, you are correct. You will see this plan has a $0 deductible. So that just makes things a little bit easier for you. It means that immediately upon starting your plan, the coinsurance support, the cost sharing will begin. So you don't have to wait until you've spent a certain amount. It's just going to start from the beginning. You spend $0 for that cost sharing to start. And the last one is coinsurance, so the cost sharing. So you'll see on the select level, it is an 80% coinsurance, which means that you are responsible for 20% of eligible expenses. So if you go to the doctor and your bill is $100, this is, again, an oversimplification, but you would be essentially responsible for $20 of that, and your insurance would pay $80 of it. That will continue until they have paid $25,000. And then if that maximum is reached, then the coinsurance becomes 100%. And the same thing for elite, except that maximum amount is smaller. It's $10,000. So if you spend that much, then you have 100% coinsurance, which means that any eligible expenses would be 100% covered by insurance, and you would have a 0% cost sharing at that point. So I know these are a lot of numbers, a lot of figures, and it can get really confusing. But the main takeaway is to understand that there will be some out-of-pocket costs, and you kind of get to choose based on these two options which one is a better option for you. Okay, doctor's visits and hospital stays. Just a quick breakdown of how the two plans differ. They're very similar. So both the select and elite levels have semi-private room coverage, and it includes nursing services. So essentially, if you go to the hospital, you're going to have insurance coverage. Outpatient treatment, which is if you were to either go to the doctor or the hospital and have outpatient go and then leave the same day, then you would be covered based on your plan benefits up to the overall maximum limit. And then prescription medications on the select level are covered at 50% of actual charge, which means, like the video mentioned, you would pay upfront and then get reimbursed for 50% of it. On the elite level, you get actually 100% coverage for generic brands, which are generic options, which means that you would pay, you would get 100% reimbursed, and then 50% for brand names, drugs, and then 50% for oral contraceptives. Pre-existing conditions, I talked about these a little bit already, but both of these plans have the same pre-existing condition waiting periods. So they require 6 months of being covered on the plan before you can begin to receive care for covered care for a pre-existing condition. And again, this is anything that you sought care for prior to having coverage or that started before. So if you fell and hurt your ankle the summer before you got here, and then you started your plan in August, and that ankle is still bothering you, then technically that would be considered pre-existing. So this plan is designed to cover anything that happens once you have started the plan. And then it does also include a $25,000 coverage for what's called acute onset of a pre-existing condition. And that's just a very fancy insurance term for if something connected to your pre-existing condition, but unrelated, not directly related, were to occur, maybe like a blood clot after a surgery, or something like that could be tied to the pre-existing condition, but isn't necessarily because of the pre-existing condition. Ultimately, it's going to be up to doctors to determine doctors and insurance to determine if it fits into that acute onset category, but there is some coverage for that type of experience. Okay, specialty coverage. So both of these plans have maternity coverage. Select has up to 10,000, Elite has up to 15. This will pretty much get you through what you need for maternity coverage in the US, provided there are no additional complications. If you had additional complications, your expenses could exceed 15,000. So just to kind of give you a frame of reference, this is good maternity coverage for especially a not like completely comprehensive plan, but it doesn't necessarily cover you in all circumstances. So just something to keep in mind if maternity is on your radar. Sports coverage. So both of these plan levels have up to $5,000 of sports coverage per injury. So if you hurt yourself and need to go to the doctor, need to have some physical therapy, et cetera, then you have that coverage up to $5,000 every time that you get hurt. Hopefully you don't get hurt, but if you do, that coverage is included here. Preventative care, so the select level has no coverage for that. The sort of expectation is that you'll be able to take care of that on your visits back home. If you think you will need that, then the elite level does have up to $200 of preventative care coverage after that 6-month waiting period. So you could go do, your annual exam. If you had, if you're a person who would use the gynecologist, you could go do your annual gynecological exam after that 6-month waiting period, and it would be covered. And then same thing with vaccination. So no coverage on that select level, and up to $150 on the elite level, which would probably give you, 1 or 2 vaccines, depending on what you needed. So that can be helpful if you're someone who can't get certain vaccines in your home country and there's requirements when you get here, that can help cover those expenses. Okay, policy exclusions are another important benefit to understand, or thing to understand about benefits. So common exclusions might be organized school sports, but you guys don't have to worry about that because that's included on both the select and elite levels that are being offered to you. Elective procedures, so an example of that might be plastic surgery that's not related to an illness or an injury. Wellness coverage, as we have talked about, but there is some wellness coverage available on the elite level. Dental and vision is usually separate. So we do have dental and vision plan options, but they are going to be a separate expense for you. Both dental and vision care tends to be very expensive in the United States. And so insurance companies have just pulled those out as something separate, even though they're also, part of your body, but we see them as differently in the insurance world. And then our plans do not cover you for medical care or insurance in your home country, but they will cover you anywhere outside of your home country. So that's something to keep in mind if you go on a trip while you're studying in the US. Let's say you take a spring break trip to Canada, then you could still use this same coverage there. It would just work a little bit differently because you're not in the US, but you'll still have that coverage just as long as you're not from Canada. Okay, networks are another important part of our insurance system. So when you're looking at the benefits, you'll notice that they're listed, they're in-network benefits and out-of-network benefits. Basically what this means is that the insurance company has organized a relationship with a network, and so they get the best pricing and the best options and the fastest processing through this company. And so as much as you can, you should go through that company, and you're going to get the best the best use of your benefits and the best use of your money when you go through the network. The Student Secure Plan uses the United Healthcare Network, and this is one of the largest networks in the country. There are providers virtually everywhere, but there is a way that you can search. If you click here, it will, I'm going to show you another place where you can find this, but there is a way that you can just search by a zip code. So either where your school is, or if you're visiting someone and need to find a doctor or urgent care, you can do that. Another option is to always call. So if you need to go to urgent care and you're on a trip and you're not sure and you see one that you want to go to, just call them and say, are you in network with United Healthcare? And they can let you know. You can always choose to use an out-of-network provider. That's your choice, but it will most likely be both more expensive and you'll have to probably pay out of pocket. Whereas when you go to an in-network provider, they will send the bill first to your insurance, and whatever is left for you to pay will get sent to you, as opposed to having to pay like right up front when you go to the doctor. So to find in-network benefits, and to know what your network is, again, I just told you it's United Healthcare. If you forget that, look for the logo on your ID card. That will usually indicate what your network is, and it's something you can point out to the doctor when you visit. You show them the ID card, and they will see that network logo. As I mentioned just a second ago, the in-network providers can do direct billing, so they won't, other than a copay, they won't ask you to pay anything usually at your appointment. They will first send the bill to insurance, and then you'll get a bill, and then you can pay it in payment plans if needed, or kind of based on whatever the timeline that they give you. You also sometimes get insurance discounts on medical expenses. You'll see those in the bills when you receive them. It will tell you how much was discounted because of your insurance relationship. And then you're going to get the fastest processing time for claims when you go in network, because again, they have a relationship and they work better together. When you go out of network, the provider, this means that the provider either doesn't use insurance at all or doesn't use the United Healthcare network. You might have to pay the bill up front and then request reimbursement, and the reimbursement is not as guaranteed or also processed as quickly. And the actual cost could be higher because there isn't a discount agreement. Sometimes doctor's offices have what's called a self-pay cost that can be affordable. So if you have a specific doctor you're wanting to go to that's out of network, you are welcome, to ask them about their self-pay for uninsured. But technically you aren't uninsured. So it's something to ask them about, do you have a self-pay option for out of network, and those kinds of questions. And then the processing time can be a little bit slower for when you would get your claims processed and potentially your reimbursement. Here's a sample ID card. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it can get a little detailed, but the important thing to see here is this United Healthcare logo. You'll notice that's not us, right? So we are ISI, we're not United Healthcare. United Healthcare is the network. The carrier is World Trips. So you'll see that over here. So World Trips is the group that's going to be handling your claims, and United Healthcare is your network. So you'll have here is where you would want the provider to notice. You'll have your member ID and the information that they will need to call about claims. And then your process for claims here, when you need to file the claim, is all going to be found here on the ID card. And that's the back page. The front side of your ID card is going to have your name, your certificate number, your effective date, and then this other information that again will be useful for your provider. Okay, when you purchase one of our plans, you get access to what is called the student zone, and it will look something like this. And this is where you will be able to, you create an account and then you'll be able to log in and click on all of these things, whichever makes the most sense for what you're trying to do. But there is a direct link to that Find a Doctor or Hospital that's in network. So you can always easily access that. I recommend bookmarking the student zone and saving your login information so that you can get in there when you need to. If you're like most people, you won't be in there very often. And so it's important to bookmark it and know how to get in it the first time you do it, so that when you need it in 6 months, you're not having to, scramble and call us and figure out how to get in. Some of this information is available without logging in though, but I do recommend doing your registration so that you can access your personal information. In the student zone, you can also update your information. You can download your ID card and other documents. And there's claims instructions in there as well. We also have a whole library of free resources that I encourage you guys to look at. That video referenced it. It's the Insurance Explained section of our website. So there's a link here. And you can just go through and look for the articles that seem like they're going to answer your question, and you'll be able to review that information. It's a really useful library, and there's also videos if you are more of a visual learner. Quick few notes about understanding claims. It's really important that you don't forget this part of the process. So after you've been to the doctor, you've paid your copay, and you get home and you have your prescription and you're not feeling good, you need to think, oh, I need to file a claim, and you need to do it within 30 days. So a claim is just a series of documents that you have to fill out and then send to World Trips. World Trips, again, is the insurance carrier that are going to be responsible for paying your claim or not. So you want to make sure you take care of that within 30 days. I always tell students, as soon as you get home and feel well enough, you should do it because it's easy to forget. And you only have to do it once per illness or injury. So if you go back to the doctor 6 times for the same injury and you've already done the claim once, you don't have to do it every time. How to file a claim, in that student zone, there are forms that you can download and then you fill them out. You can fill them out on the computer or you can print them out. Any additional documentation you might need to collect from your doctor's visit, you can submit that, those additional documents and the form via email, again, as soon as possible, but within 30 days. And then after you have submitted it, if you haven't heard anything within 30 days of your submission, check back either with World Trips or with us, and we will help you find out what the status is. A few tips, again, file a claim as soon as possible for every new condition, don't forget. And ask for your medical records from that appointment before you leave your appointment, because otherwise you'll have to call, and sometimes they won't send them electronically because of privacy laws. And so then you might have to go back and pick them up in person or do a special encrypted email process. So it's better to just say, hey, I need all the documentation of what you guys did today. And that way you just have it and you can submit it with your claim. If you go out of network, make sure to ask for an itemized receipt of what you paid for or what you will pay for so that you can send that into insurance, because they need to see not that you spent $100, but what you spent $100 on at that appointment. Otherwise, they won't know if it is an eligible expense or not. If you need help filing a claim, our customer service team is amazing and always available to help you. We have email and phone options, as well as WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, lots of different options to help you with whichever way is most comfortable for you. But the important thing is to know that if you're feeling overwhelmed by the claims process, don't just ignore it. Give us a call and let our team walk you through it. We cannot tell you the status of a claim directly, again, due to privacy laws. But if you call us, we can help you get in touch with World Trips, who can then give you a claims update. If you do call us and do that, we can connect you, or you can just call the World Trips number that's on your card and ask them for a claims update. You may also have a status update in your Student Zone portal, but if you're not seeing that there, then you should definitely just call World Trips and they can help. If you believe your claim was wrongfully denied, which means that if you see it as a benefit and you received what looks like it should have been a covered expense and they're saying they're denying it, there is an appeals process. World Trips uses a form that's called the Claimant Appeal Request Form. And again, our customer service team can help you through that. So if you get a denial and you think it's incorrect or you just need more information about it, give us a call as soon as possible, and we can help you with that. But sometimes there is an appeal deadline, so please don't wait. If you're not sure if you got it and you don't know what it means, any of these things are perfectly acceptable reasons to call our customer service team so they can help walk you through that. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask questions of your moderators that are in the room with you. They are welcome to write them down and then send them to our customer service team, and they can help respond to those. You are also welcome to contact our customer service via any of these different mediums. So we have, again, our phone number, we have all these different things: WeChat, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and then info@internationalstudentinsurance.com is our email. If you call us or email us and would like to communicate with someone in your native language, we'll do our best to accommodate that. We have a variety of language options available, primarily Spanish, but we have lots of others. So never hesitate to ask. And if we're able to support you in your native language, we will. Thank you so much for your time and letting me talk to you about insurance. I know it can feel really overwhelming, but if you take away anything today, please understand that having insurance in the United States is of vital importance for your peace of mind and your healthcare. And we can help you navigate the process. So thank you. Have a great day.